It's actually, I think, a reflection of society right now, because you look at, if we're not happy with the way things are going, why are we doing everything the same way? Right?
Yes.
There is a renaissance of trying to do things in the older ways. And I think a lot of it has to do with just people being like, well, something about what I'm doing doesn't fulfill. And so
Yes.
I love bow hunting, but there's just something so visceral about hunting with a stick and a string and realizing that that's the way that our ancestors did it. And then being willing and open to accepting a lot more failure and a lot more effort and all those kinds of things, and having to put so much more skin in the game with it.
Welcome to the next episode of the HUNTXP Podcast, back by popular demand. And I mean demand. We have Mel Haggy again with us tonight, talking about trad bows. And we get into it right away, talking about how trad bows are kind of, I think the trad bow people would be mad that we called it a trend, because like trad bow and trend don't seem to mix together. They seem to be oxymoronic, but there is more interest in trad bows these days, and we dive into it with her. She's got a wealth of knowledge, as she did last time. If you didn't listen to her first episode on our podcast, it was one of our more popular ones in season 1. She's great, good friend of mine from childhood, and it's fun to share a lot of interests. And Jonny doesn't shoot a trad bow. I barely shoot one, but we both learned something, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing to point out too with Mel is she's not just like someone who shoots a trad bow. She's like very accomplished in it. She's won state titles in it. She's a very accomplished shooter. So listen to what she has to say. She coaches students all the time. Wonderful resource.
Yes, she definitely coaches me on this podcast. I show her some videos of me, 1, attempting to put a string on a bow, 2, shooting, and I'm here for you to learn from my mistakes. That's part of what the XP is. So enjoy that in a little bit. Jonny, you've been getting after the ducks a little bit with your boys, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, this last weekend was Wisconsin Youth Duck Opener, and both boys shot beautiful wood duck drakes, which, I consider to be like the most gorgeous duck in the sky. And when I first got into duck hunting years ago, I was like, I gotta shoot a woody drake. I gotta shoot a woody drake. And it took me like 2 seasons to shoot like a fully plumed, beautiful one. And they both went out this weekend and each shot one right away. And I was like, wow, well, your first duck is gorgeous. Both of you. Congratulations. Yeah.
Lucky.
Yes.
Beginner's luck. That's sweet, man. Oh man, there's just something different about us, like a spread of woodies coming in, like the way they come in, and that it's just so associated with early season, and it's kind of the first species to come through, or they're already around, and they're gorgeous birds. So that's super fun.
Yeah. We got to sneak up we did a little pond hopping, back to our roots of jumping a pond, and it was just fun to be like crawling to the water's edge and trying to locate them. And then I had to coach the boys like, all right, you got to bring the gun up already ready to shoot. You can't like stand up, look around, pull the gun up. You got to be like ready. And they did awesome. It was fantastic.
Dude, that brings back some just awesome memories. I remember just having such a good time. We're like, let's go hop some ponds. And definitely some unsafe times if you don't do it well, for sure.
Right.
But lots of fun. I distinctly remember doing that without a dog, and into October. So I definitely remember getting very cold recovering some waterfowl when I was in my teenage years, because there was nothing but me and the absence of all my hunting clothes to retrieve the ducks. So yeah, good times. I've gotten out a couple times and been unsuccessful, but I was super pumped. I looked at the weather. I said, yeah, I got a south wind, just tons of rain, but I'm getting out there because I've got the time to do it. I pulled a Jonny and I was like, if I've got the calendar time, I'm getting out there. So my mantra going into the adventure was no expectations, no disappointments. And I used the opportunity to go to fresh area on public that I had not been to before, particularly area that is locked in. You can't access it other than crossing a creek. And it's a pretty significant creek, not just like a knee boots creek. Like I brought my True Dave waders out there, walked across the creek. And because it was a south wind and because it was raining, the wind was in my face and it was covering my scent. So instead of just like blowing up an area before hunting it, but I found this sweet place that I'm going to go back probably during rut, this natural funnel between a food source and a bedding area that looked decent on the map. And then I got there, I was like, yes, I will be back. Yeah. So it was fun. Waiting to stick one with the trad bow. I had the trad bow with me that time. And so I've been flinging the arrows. I'm going to fling them a little bit better now talking to Mel, and we'll see if we can get one down.
For sure, dude.
Should we jump in? Let's have her come on the pod. Let's do it. Mel, you are back. Welcome back to the HUNTXP podcast.
Thank you. It's it's funny because when you asked me to come back, I was like, dang it, I don't have like my popular Instagram account anymore because I had been for years, like I was building that. And so then I got to, thousands of followers, and then I was getting trolled by vegans so heavily. And then I was getting like I would post something and it would be like something I made in my forge, because I do a lot of blacksmithing, or I'd post like anything with archery and it would get flagged and taken down because I had a bunch of people who followed me just to report everything I did. So, I was like, okay, I'm just going to let it go. And if the Lord wants me to have it grow, then it will. And it'll grow without me doing anything because I'm sick of Instagram. So so I just kind of deleted it all. So sorry if you don't get, all the views or whatever with this one, but I don't have an audience anymore.
Well, the HUNTXP audience absolutely loved your podcast last year. And you just got supplanted as the most popular podcast by Nick Andrews from the Hunting Public. But until that point, you were by far and away our most popular. People are most interested in traditional bows and what you had to say. And I think I have noticed this even in guys who've been shooting compound bows for a long time. For instance, I believe that Growing Deer, which is a kind of leading voice on YouTube in hunting, Grant Woods, their whole team went to trad bows this year. They just put the compounds down for a year and they're trying it. So more and more people, I think, are like, whether it's like the next level of challenge or it's a novelty, or they're just like, hey, I want to try that.
It's actually like, I think, a reflection of society right now, because you look at like, if we're not happy with the way things are going, why are we doing everything the same way? Right. And so there's so many people, like there is a renaissance of trying to do things in the older ways, and I think a lot of it has to do with just people being like, well, something about what I'm doing doesn't fulfill, and so I love bow hunting. I think I would love compound hunting. I know I wouldn't love crossbow hunting, but I think I would also love, hunting with a compound. But there's just something so like visceral about hunting with a stick and a string, and like realizing that that's the way that our ancestors did it. And then like being willing and open to like accepting a lot more failure, and a lot more effort and all those kinds of things, and having to put so much more skin in the game with it.
Did you know that you can use AI to become a better hunter? Here's what you got to do. Our team at HUNTXP has built a custom AI. We call it Crockett. And it is the combination of the power of AI and the collective wisdom of hunters for many years mashed up together and put right in your pocket, right in the field, where you can level up your hunting game. You can ask it things like, what's the best broadhead setup for my situation? What's the best day to hunt this week? All sorts of questions. It's super fun. Our community is having a great time building this. We'd love for you to join in at huntxp.com. Join us.
I think there's so many reasons for it.
It's great.
I think Tradbow too is a good reminder, kind of piggyback in there of like, and it's not to say anyone ever like arrives or whatever as a hunter, but you know, those of us who have bow hunted for a long time, many of us have taken several deer, and then you start playing the game of like it has to be a certain caliber, which is fine, totally fine. I'm guilty of that. But I think for me, if I'm like, you know, I'm going to pick up a trad bow and just get back to the excitement of I'm going to harvest a deer and the excitement of that, not caring about inches of antler or anything like that, and getting back to the root of like, I'm doing this for food and for my enjoyment. And I think that's kind of freeing in a way.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of trad people say that anything you take with a trad bow is a trophy.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm getting those vibes already because I have never paid more attention to does on my trail cam than I have this year. I'm like tracking the patterns of mature does, which I haven't done before, because I'm like, what wind are they coming in this direction? So I can actually get within 15 yards and actually get a reasonable shot at one. I've been having tons of fun shooting Levi, my brother-in-law's bow that you bought for him, got him set up with. So thank you. It just keeps on. It's the gift that just keeps on giving. As you pointed out before we started talking, we still need to take an animal with it, and then it will be full circle. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to ask you a bunch of questions that have come up for me, and hopefully they'll be relatable questions for folks who are getting into tradbow or thinking about tradbow. And then I have some in real life, what's the phrase? Actual footage. No, that's not the phrase. What am I looking for here?
I think that's it. Just go with it.
That's it. Okay. Good thing we can edit this thing. Actual footage of me shooting the tradbow for you to tell me everything that I'm doing wrong so that folks can learn from my mistakes as I am trying to do. And I think it'll be fun. I think we'll learn a lot from it.
I can give some insight on it. I'm not like an official coach, but I am obsessive. And so I have done a lot of years of putting in just a lot of effort into learning how to do all this. And then in 2022, when I ruptured my Achilles tendon on September 23rd, and so then I had to sit out that whole season, basically. And I spent so much time during that recovery practicing just drawing and keeping my muscle memory going, and then studying archery and shooting and how to teach it, because that's when I really got the vision for like how I could take this to other people and hopefully just share what it's taught me about life.
Yeah. Good. Well, hopefully we get to hear more of that as I ask you questions here.
And here's my arrow for this year. I'm shooting cedar wood shafts with a old Bodkin 3-blade broadheads. So these things are pretty killer. It's just under 600 grains, but they're hand painted by a friend of mine, and I'm super excited to take a deer with I've never hunted with wood arrows before, so I'm just trying to get more trad.
That's awesome.
What's the uniqueness of the wooden arrows? What do you have to factor in when you switch to those? Do they fly similarly, different? What are you experiencing?
My experience is really limited with them. This is my first season with them.
Yeah.
I love the way that they fly. So like even just when I get to the point when I'm drawing, if I'm drawing super fast, I feel like there's so much flex here. Like I can feel it almost like flex and almost like it starts to paradox on the draw, because there is so much more flex in here. This is spined for a 40 to 45. And then I have like I think it's 175 grain broadhead on it. And these things, they punch through the target like completely. Like that, I can shoot my carbon arrows, and like I'm shooting a 40-pound bow, and I draw just over like right around 29 inches. So I'm probably, in like the 42.5 to 43-pound range, and with stacking. But like my carbon arrows, they don't hit that heavy. And so like when I shoot this, I feel like I can like see the impact so much more, I also feel like not only do I love the way they fly, I love the way that they hit so heavy. I also feel like the stakes are a little higher because they're gonna break. Like you put this in a deer, like you're not gonna have it like one end sticking out of one side, it's like it's gonna break. And if I shoot into the ground, it's probably going to break. So I do feel like my stakes are a little higher with it. But I've just discovered that I really, really like the way they fly. Although I've always shot microcarbons, and these are like 11 by 32. So they're like, they feel so beefy. Like I don't, I'm not used to that. But
that's wild. This is what I am adapting this a little bit, but you set Levi up with these. These are Easton full metal jackets, and then he had I think 175 on here. These are the VPA 3-blade, but these are 250 grain. And so I like how they're flying now. I was a little concerned beefing up the front that much, but at least within the range that I'm comfortable with, they're flying just as well. It's just an adjustment. Is there anything I should be concerned about putting that much weight up front as long as they're flying similarly?
I mean,
have
you like paper tuned them?
Not
like, have you
yet.
shot them through a piece of paper at all? So I'm not all about that unless you see something you don't like when it's flying. If you like how it's flying, don't overcomplicate it. You know?
I just figured with like such a short range that I plan to shoot in, I mean, it makes sense to paper tune a compound because there's so many factors in the bow itself that you can adjust. But the only piece of adjustment is me. With the trad bow, it feels like.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is if you're upping your point weight, then you're gonna weaken your spine. And so the main thing would be making sure your spine is still matched with having that much weight on the end, so that you don't over paradox and then tail kick or something like that on your arrow.
Yes. What gives me a little bit of solace in that is this is just an older version of the full metal jackets that I'm running on my compound with the same weight up front. So I kind of tested this, at least the dimensions of this arrow with that weight. So we'll see what happens.
I love those 3 blades. I mean, that's like the one thing with trad is like, I'm not using mechanicals. Everything is fixed blade. We need every ounce of energy that we can get. We don't need to try to open mechanicals as it's going through or whatever. And I don't like using the replaceable blade stuff, and I don't want to have like a chisel tip. Like I do know people who, still shoot with like a Muzzy broadhead, but they're also shooting like 60 to 65 pound bows, and I'm not. And so I love that with these, just similar to, I think yours is like more of like a 3-to-1 ratio probably in the width to the length. But I love that you can get these 3-blade ones just so sharp. If you have a good solid sharpening stone, you don't need to pay attention to angles and bevel. You can get them just hair popping sharp really easily. I always try to recommend, like, if you're not going to do a single bevel, to do these, because if you're not experienced with sharpening, like, this takes all the guesswork out of it.
Yeah, it's just already kind of pre-leveled if they're made correctly, and you just back and forth. All right, it's time for some media. I'm gonna try to share some experiences with you all.
Okay, some real life footage.
Real life, actual life, IRL. I don't know what the phrase is. Bear with my technology here. And Jonny, your role is to just give some fun commentary about how well I'm doing this here.
All right.
I'll edit it. Go. Can you just see my stomach right now?
Yep, yes.
I can. I was trying to figure out what we're looking at.
I know. I was like, what are we looking at exactly?
Sorry for that.
See the bottom is of a Kuiu binder harness, maybe?
Yeah. Hey, that's great. Good job. And a duct taped screen, Welcome, Matt. All right. See if you can figure out what's going on in this video. We'll do that. Let me know if you can hear the audio. Can you hear the audio?
No.
You can't hear the audio?
Okay, so my first critique is going to be on you stringing your bow.
I am stringing my bow. He didn't really show me how to do this, so this is how I'm doing it.
This is going to be rich. I'm excited for Mel to talk about this.
This is going to give me anxiety. Sorry.
Can you hear it?
I can't hear it, but I wouldn't string my bow that way, just for future reference. We'll talk through that a little bit.
Do you see my finger?
Oh, jeez.
Ouch.
Okay, that's video number 1.
I appreciate your vulnerability with Mel and I and the internet.
Yes.
That is how not to string a trad bow right there.
Yeah.
So Mel, teach me your ways so that I don't crush my finger again. I'm glad you couldn't hear the audio, because if your mom heard what I was saying, she would probably come back from my childhood and spank me across the bottom, because
Justin,
there was
Daniel.
there was a string of
That's what you'd get.
expletives. Yes. I pinched my finger between the string and the bow at the end of it. So
okay.
didn't feel great. So how do I actually do that?
First of all, you hold the bow up like this. And then you pull
Bow,
up
not
on
the string.
this, not the string.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. And if you are pulling this way and your string breaks, you're going to have very little control over it coming flying at your face. There's a big, when you're holding it like this, like you can actually get the leverage to pull things up. So I don't even use a stringer because I use a longbow. Okay. So I just unstrung it. I don't know if this is the way the professionals would recommend you do this, but this is the way I do it. So I'm barefoot. Usually I have boots on and I have a string saver on the bottom, and I hold that and I put my knee over it, and there we go. That's strung. That's all I really have to do.
So you just work the string down the top of the bow.
Yeah.
And
So I'm this end is planted underneath the arch of my foot.
Yeah.
And then my knee here holds my handle up as I slide this down. Okay.
Way better. Way better.
Yep. And it keeps my face out of the way.
Yeah.
So
and
I'm pushing
and
down.
And kind of your finger. Yeah.
And that's as easy as it is right there. Doesn't work with a recurve.
Wow. Looked 1,000 times better than what you did.
Oh my gosh. I don't Levi showed me once, and then I'm like, I really should watch a YouTube video. Every time I pull it out, I'm like, I really should watch a YouTube video. And then I just try to figure it out. And then that happened. I'm like, wow, this is going to be question number 1 for Mel. That's ridiculous. So.
Well, using a stringer, I use a stringer for every recurve because you can't slide it down like that with like you do with a longbow if you have recurved ends. And so my favorite style stringer is the Selway stringer. I'm not sure if that's the one. It looks similar, but where you'll put like the pocket over the one end, and then you put a gripper that pushes on the limb, and you step on it. You have shoes on, you step on it, and you pull up, and as you pull up, you can slide it down the limb because it straightens out the limb.
Yep.
And so
it's
then
just basically the reverse of what I was doing. I was pushing the bow down.
Yeah, but when you do it, you pull it up like this, like towards your body, not don't pull it towards your face, towards your body, and then slide it down. I have seen
not like eye level.
Yeah. Just feel like,
don't want to snap up.
Yeah. Okay. But that's one of the reasons I love There's so many reasons I love longbows, but one of them is the ease of being able to string and unstring it even just in the field. Like I don't need anything. And like I have a lot of friends who they do a recurve this by putting it like behind their leg and then they pull it over and, do it like that. But I don't like it.
Nice. Johnny, what's your take on my form there?
I thought I made it pretty clear that it was really bad.
Good. But if we weren't clear on that point.
But, you did get it to a point where you could shoot it.
Yes.
Yeah, I was able to shoot it.
The other part is I don't shoot trad bow, so I really am not the one to critique you, but I just know it looked funny.
I'm giving you permission.
And bad.
Yes.
It's bad.
Good. It's great. It's bad. All right.
Hey, to the audience listening, if you are listening on Spotify, you should probably go to YouTube just for the clip of JD trying to string the bow.
We'll make that available for everybody's enjoyment. See that arrow popping out?
Yep.
Yeah, I think you need a tighter gripper. That shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I was bummed to lose the one. This isn't the right video.
A bent arrow.
That was a video of me discovering a bent arrow. Here, this one will be better. We get a couple more shots in here. Oh my gosh. I should be more prepared for this. This is an intro.
I love it.
Okay, here's a couple shots at the end.
I wish I could see your bow hand.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that.
Okay, do it one more time.
So the anchor point I use is under my jaw. Right here. That's just what I've used for compound. So let me see if I have another. I don't know if that's going to make a difference from my hand perspective, but.
Okay. Yeah, see there. Go to that still frame right where you let go. So there, it looks like you hit a good anchor. Ooh, look at that fierce face right there.
Yes.
Fierce.
Fierce. Okay. So let it go to where your hand rests after you release the string. Okay, so if you kind of can go back there and like that little spot right when you release the string, if you watch your bow arm, let it go again, you'll see the only thing that I'm noticing that I can see from a video without actually doing any, being there, is when you pull back, you're letting go and then you're bringing your arm down. And if you do, just try that. When you do that, your arm is going to automatically want to float up a little bit. Your counter. So do you see what I mean? So like usually,
Yeah.
if your arm is going down, you're altering your bow arm. And so that's more of what I was looking at, is like I would love to see what happens with your bow arm when you're releasing your shot. So usually, yeah, because what a lot of people don't think about is that the hand that's holding the bow matters too, not just your anchor.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of times when you let go of your string, you want to be going this way so it's straight back, and that way you're not impacting this way, because like our muscle groups all interact in such a way that they're going to affect, opposite and stuff. So when you are doing this, this causes tension where you're going to raise this shoulder. And so if you do that video and you see like when you release this, just watch this arm and you'll notice it just goes like this just a little bit. So don't bring your arm, don't go, because that's not as natural as pull straight back. And so think about your arm when you release the string going in the same trajectory as your arrow.
Okay. So you just want it like straight back like that. Like it's more of instead of like coming down and just like flicking it and letting it drop.
Yeah, if you're pulling it
all the way through.
Pulling it down is a tension act. That actually requires you having like a tension to pull that down. So you get to your anchor, you release, and as you release, you're pulling, your elbow is supposed to come back like this, and this hand will come oftentimes back to your shoulder. Okay, so like one of the top coaches out there for trad is Tom Clum Sr. And he says, one of the things that he says is like to pretend like there's almost like a ball on your shoulder, and like I think it's Tom Clum who says it. They have to try to like catch the ball almost before like somebody will let go of it, and you have to try to like catch it before it drops, And like part of that is when you pull through that shot and you're not interfering with tension in any of these muscle groups, you're not going to accidentally raise your bow arm just a little bit. Just that little bit of tension interfering with your bow arm.
Yeah.
So the other reason that I want to see your bow arm is because a lot of guys, particularly, I haven't come across this with women as much. Women have problems with their elbow being in the way. But a lot of guys, when they go to pull back, their arm will go out like this. And it's because you guys have enough muscle that you can hold it without needing to utilize your skeletal structure. So for women, we have to lock in and utilize our joints to get the strength to not have a shaky bow arm. But so many guys try to hold it with muscle, and so like you with a history in compound are probably not going to be doing that as much and like bringing that up. But as soon as you start introducing that tension, there's oftentimes interference with arrow flight with that. But also it's a good way to injure yourself. So I didn't notice that, but it's also, I would need to see from the back, shoot. Okay, so then another thing that so like with the bowing hand, so like a lot of people will want to hold their bow like this, and we don't want to do that. You want to see the natural V of your bone like right here, and that right above your bone, this V is where your arrow is going to rest. And so you're holding it more like this. I don't know if you can see like that, than like this,
Got it. Instead of gripping around like that.
Yep, you don't want to grip.
Don't want to.
You want
to go like that.
Yep, you want to give yourself a fulcrum where your bow can naturally do what it needs to do without you. Because if your fingers are here, you're pulling it down when you release. Torquing it. So I think a lot of those mechanics are really similar with compound to trad, right? So yeah, but I don't know if that's helpful at all. But I brought this to show you guys. It's just a little exercise band, right?
Yeah,
I think they're hip bands or whatever. But I will I'll hold this the way that I hold my bow, like that. And then I just do a 3-finger draw and go back to my anchor and then like let it go multiple times, and just
So
get to the
just the
point.
movement of finding your anchor.
Yep. Just getting to the point where I get to my anchor and then let it go and get to my anchor. Just get to the point of where you have scapular engagement in your back, where you're trying to actually transfer, where you're holding your arrow in your back, not just muscle in the front, And like,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times one of the reasons that trad shooters miss deer is like with Levi, like where you shoot under them because you don't get to full draw, until like you don't get the power then because it's not the same as a compound where you get to that wall where it lets off and you're at full power, whether you're, I'm sure half inch isn't making a huge difference in a compound.
No.
Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
so, but when you're talking about every half inch that you pull that bow being the power behind the arrow, every half inch counts then. You have to get to full draw or you will consistently shoot under things. I know because I've done it a lot. And my last thought before I shoot at an animal is always keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. I don't want to get to here and then be like, here. Because guess what? Just collapsing like that, that's going to take so much power away from my arrow. Because when you think about stacking, you think about draw weight being, like if I have a 40-pound bow and I'm drawing at 28 inches, I'm getting that full 40 pounds, right? But if I only draw to 26 inches, I'm taking away almost 5 pounds, like 5 pounds of draw weight off of it.
Yeah.
So for every inch above your listed draw weight, above 28 inches, you can add 2 to 2.5 pounds, right? That's stacking for your bow. For every inch below, you drop right about the same way. So then you think about the trajectory of your arrow, the spine of your arrow flight, everything is going to be messed up if you're short drawing. So getting to that consistent anchor, that's this, over and over and over until you don't even have to think about it.
My next question is about aiming. So more that I've shot this, it doesn't even feel like I'm aiming because the aiming that I'm used to is like a series of lining things up on a compound bow. And for me, it just feels like I'm actually just getting in a flow, which is most of what I've been doing and haven't been that concerned about grouping them. But then they've slowly been getting more grouped. And I feel like I can't even explain how I actually aim. So,
okay, so
like,
similarly,
how should I be aiming? Yeah.
How do you aim when you throw a football?
Point.
Intuitively.
Or do you see
point and follow
do you
through
see
at,
what you're throwing it?
And
muscle memory from doing it enough times, you know how much power you need to do to get it there. Like when was the last time you missed somebody by like 20 feet? Like probably not.
Yeah.
And same with like you throw a baseball, like you're tossing something across the room. It's like it's kind of amazing the amount of kinesthetic awareness that we have that works with the sensory input around us, and then how to get whatever we're trying to get to where it's going. Archery is very similar. If you take away the ways that we've complicated things, it's kind of amazing how your brain works with instinct. And so the main thing that I try to teach new students about is you need to narrow your focus. You need to drill your eyes where you want your arrow to go. And if you have proper alignment, if all the things that are in place as far as like you doing your job, your arrow, if you have a well-tuned bow and all that, your arrow's likely going to go where you want it to go within reason. And then the more you do that, the more you get to there. So there does come a point for me where I'm not shooting instinctively anymore, where I do actually line up my arrow point. And that is usually after about 20 yards. I can't shoot as accurately instinctively. Like I do need to know because my arrow is going to be at the, with arrow flight, it goes up first and then it kind of drops down, right? Once I get past that point, so for me, that's about 22 yards is where I get to, that's where the point of my arrow lines up with where I want to hit. Everything below that is just instinct. Everything above that, I do need to compensate above my target just a little bit. A lot of people reference the point of their arrow through their peripheral vision without without consciously doing it and lining that up. But that's why when you have the alignment in a straight line of arrow, anchor, and then elbow, that straight line is the trajectory of your arrow. And if you're focusing where you want to hit, it happens. I don't know.
Well, I love that so far about it. Like it's interesting that you name like throwing a football or a baseball, which I freaking love to do. My wife makes fun of me for just loving to throw things because the experience of just like that mechanics of your brain being able to do that is just a joy. And like, I think it's still a joyful experience to like line up the pin and just sink one in the middle of the dot on the target on a compound bow. But the natural element of just like intuitively aiming and sending it and it going consistently in the same place it's pretty awesome. I've not experienced that to that level before. So.
Have you noticed too that the longer you hold your arrow and the more you try to line it up, the worse you do?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm not ready to do like a quick shot. Like I still kind of hold it to settle myself a little bit, but I actually don't really feel like I want to hold it. I feel like I'm holding it too long because the better shots feel like they're almost one continuous motion sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of I'm not. So that's called snap shooting. When it's like you boom, hit the arrow and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a huge proponent of that because I want you guys, I want to promote you settle to your anchor, you're there, and then you let your arrow go. But a lot of time, if you snap shoot, I know a lot of really accurate snap shooters, but like from a fundamental point of view, like I want the mechanics to be right. And so I'm like,
makes sense.
Usually I draw where I'm like, draw, anchor, shoot. And it's about that speed. It's not like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not Legolas
but
out there.
The longer you hold it, the more muscle fatigued you're going to get because you don't have any let off,
Well, that's what I sense. It's not necessarily even fatigue as much as it's just your brain starts over analyzing what your arm is feeling. That's what it feels like for me. Like all the little micro points of data that are coming back to your brain overwhelm it because you're trying to hold it out there,
Yeah.
Maybe that's fatigue, but it feels more like overwhelming the senses when you're trying to be focused on one thing,
Yeah. I don't know. I think the biggest thing that I want to hammer home for everybody is that you can't, unless you're my husband, apparently, because he is absolutely lethal with his trad bow and he almost never shoots. You just got to get the muscle memory, because like when a deer is walking in front of you and you have that adrenaline, trying to line up all the things that you're supposed to do, it's like it does really go out the window. And if you can't fall back on a really good fundamental form and shot sequence, in a psycho trigger of this is when I let my arrow go, and then understand like how to narrow your focus, how to choose what you're aiming at, because like what I tell my students a lot of times is like, if you aim at a whole deer and you miss it by 2 inches, it's running back through the woods. But if you aim at a very specific spot that is a lethal spot and you miss it by 2 inches, you're likely still going to kill it,
Yeah.
And so like knowing exactly how to pick a spot, and like picking a spot is an art in itself, to not just be like, oh, there's the vitals, I'm going to shoot for that. But like, well, there's a spot of sunlight that's going through right there that's what I'm aiming at, that's falling on the vital or something like that,
Sure.
Because
that's good for everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly important in trad bow, but I've been guilty of just like putting the pin on the vitals and sending it, or putting the pin on the chest and sending it at a deer. And I think that I've missed bigger than I should have in some instances because I didn't pick a particular spot.
But what's the closest deer you guys have taken? Oh, sorry.
Closest?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Probably, I think 8 yards.
Yeah. I shot a mule deer last year, probably, around that, 8 or less, over a badland feature or a little butte standing right over top of it. Yeah.
Wow, that's really close.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Anyway,
I aimed
I was
lower.
wondering.
Yeah.
Like how you picked your spot, like for something that's super close, because like with a trad bow when it's that close, whenever you're shooting close with a trad bow, just the instinct that's where it's super, super fun. But
yeah. With the compound, I have to almost aim lower when you're close.
Yeah.
Because of the flight of the
But Mel, you touched on something earlier of, basically saying you have to put the time in, you have to train your muscle memory. As a PE teacher and an athletics coach, I talk about that all the time. And one thing I tell my athletes is like, in the moment when the pressure's on, let's say it's the game-winning shot, you can't just figure it out in that moment. That's where the hours and hours and hours of training when no one else is watching, or the hours of getting up early and putting in the time, that's when that stuff pays off, because you're not having to think for a second about it. It's just purely instinctual. The ball comes to you and you know exactly what to do with it. You don't have to think twice. And I think that's what you're getting at too. Like, you have to train your body so in the moment of truth, when that animal is right there, you're not thinking like, do this, do that. You're just able to draw back and just your body takes over and you do it.
Yeah, totally.
That's good.
And I also think that with along with all those things about practicing and having that muscle memory and that ability to not need to do a checklist in your head and like you're saying, figure it out in the moment, you do need to practice like for me with hunting from the ground. I have a 60-inch bow right now. Like, I've hunted with a 62-inch bow before, or a 64-inch bow, I mean. So just checking everything. Like, today I went out in the woods and I went to like one of the spots where I like to hunt, and I was like trying to draw back at all the different deer trails I knew, and I'm like, okay, well, with this much bow, you do need to make sure you have clear spots, and that there is a challenge, I think, of just the draw of having this, and like I'm trying to do it like sneakily, like from the ground and stuff like that, and making sure you're testing everything. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I tried
Totally.
to draw back, and like there's like a buckthorn bush and it's like above my head, but my limb is hitting it, So just trying to cover all the bases with the trad bow is just really important.
I saw Levi do that multiple times when we would jump in stands that were either a crossbow hunter was particularly there, or a rifle hunter, or even a compound hunter. He's just like, no, there's like another foot or two that I have to be conscious of boughs above me or limbs above me and around. So yeah,
I
that's a
missed
good
a sweet buck because it was kind of behind my tree. And when I went to shoot, I didn't realize that there was a branch, just a little branch, and my bottom limb, right on the tip of the limb, hit it.
Smacked it. Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, trying to do that in a small area is hard, like leaning over a stand, and trying to get to where you need to go. But it's taught me that I need to check all those angles and try drawing and all of that stuff beforehand, and not just wait until the moment and being like, okay, I can make this work right now. It's like I have blown it and missed opportunities because I only go to draw my bow like in the moment instead of before, and then I'm like snapping sticks and stuff above my head and all that. So
that's great. Mel, this has been packed full. Anything else that you've noticed as you've been training people that they often miss, or are things that maybe become a slump for new learners? Like, they get it and then they hit a mid training slump with it and then have to come through it.
I think the biggest thing I've noticed with some people is just losing interest and not shooting as much as they need to shoot, and then only shooting when they're hunting or when they want to hunt. And I think it's just, trad is one of those things that it's kind of does become a lifestyle thing. There's like a subculture, like a complete subculture with it, and like there's trad only shoots, there's so many trad groups and stuff like that. And that's because once you start doing like shooting this way and hunting this way, it's just like, it does change the way that you look at like your time in the woods, I think, particularly. And so I have seen quite a few people who like, they'll do trad and they'll get disappointed because they don't see results. You know, they're missing deer that they could easily take them with a crossbow or something like that. And it's like, so then they'll give up on it and not like kind of let it, I don't know, let it sit for a while until it gets like to the point where you can actually do that. Because in order to have success, like you do need to learn from quite a bit of failure, I think. Because like if you shoot under enough deer, you're going to learn to get to your anchor point.
Yeah.
Right.
And so like losing interest because they don't see success because this is hard. You know, like it's not easy. And the reason that we do it isn't for some, I don't know, some kind of like masochistic, like I want to be better than everybody else, so I'm going to go do the hardest thing that there is. It's because there's something very fulfilling in doing something that is hearkening back to the way that our ancestors did it and seeing that it can still be done. So yeah, just don't give up because you're unsuccessful the first year or 2 years or whatever it may be. But also there is no shame to going back to another way of hunting if you find out that this isn't filling your cup, because it's not supposed to be punishing yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm maybe just an offering for people who want to like try. Like my approach this year is to try to fill a doe tag with my trad bow. And I still have to check the regs in both the states I hunt, but I don't know if I can have both a compound and a trad bow in the tree. But that's kind of my plan after that. If something comes in closer or if it's a target buck that walks in, I'm probably going to grab my compound right away because I'm a lot more confident in it. And some people might scoff at that and be like, you're not jumping in all the way, but it's just my way of testing it out. And if I get hooked, great. Awesome. Yeah. That's why I'm meticulously studying the movements of mature does on my trail cams right now.
Hey man, mature does are hard to get close to.
They are. They're very
tricky.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Don't undersell the mature doe. The easiest ones to get with a trad bow are the spike bucks.
I believe
like,
it. Yeah, those
I've
things
had
are
so many spike bucks that I've had to pass up because I don't want to miss out on like a buck I'm actually going after. Like,
yeah.
It's like I'll be sitting there in my tree and I'm like, Lord, can you just send something my way? And then it's like, not that, please.
But not that.
You answered it, not the way I wanted. Oh, Mel,
Funny.
this has been so fun. It's super fun to have you. You're a wealth of knowledge.
Well,
This has been great.
I hope it was helpful. I'm sure it's going to be difficult for anybody who's listening and not watching. But
yeah, go back and watch it.
Yeah, watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
they have big imaginations.
We didn't even get into the life skill, like essential life skills or any of those things. Season
3. We'll call you up.
Okay.
No, yeah, sorry we didn't get into that. I know that's something you can really offer as well, but this was good. I think it'll give people who are giving it a go or want to learn more a lot to think about and practice. So thank you.
Yeah. Next time we can hit up on like if you want to be in the backcountry or cooking and don't want to have to rely on Mountain House.
Yeah.
And want actual good meals.
For sure.
In the backcountry. So
yeah. Let's talk about that for sure. That's awesome. Sweet.
Okay. Cool. I'll come prepared.
Thanks, Mel. Appreciate you being here.
Awesome. Thank you, Mel.
Behind the scenes bonus banter.
That's great. You guys have any public down there hunting grounds?
Oh, yeah.
Like you guys
we have the
largest
Gore's
Where do you
Pool,
go for that?
I believe, is the largest WMA in like around the whole metro area. It's like over 1,000 acres.
Gore's Pool.
Yeah.
I'll look at
so
that.
yeah.
I always hunt north.
Well, WMA it runs along the river. It's 1,078 acres.
Wow.
So it's fairly significant. And then that's kind of like right by Hastings, like between the Wisconsin, Minnesota border along the river there. So, and it's like there's some huge bucks down there. And then a couple spots in Red Wing, you should go hunt Red Wing sometime. You can apply for their tags and you can actually hunt in town. It's pretty cool.
In town?
You could hunt the bluff where you guys used to live.
Wow. Well, I have a lot of memories of chasing things in that bluff. Yeah.
The problem with starting trad is that you're going to get a giant buck with your compound and it's going to be at 18 yards and you're going to be like, dude, I could have done that with my trad bow.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I'm wondering if I can have both of them in the tree. I don't know if that's legal or not, but yeah.
It
Probably too
shouldn't
much
be.
movement shouldn't be. You can't go back and forth.
You have to
gotta
make a
choose one.
choice. Make a choice.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I feel fine at like 45 to 50 yards with the compound. So if there's a scenario where something's walking by it,
that blows my mind.
yeah.
I've never compound hunted, so like that distance, like I look at a deer at 50 yards and I'm just like, oh, look, a deer. Like it doesn't even enter my mind like, oh, I'm going to shoot that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was, I totally missed a mule deer last year at 50 yards, just completely sent it over its back, but that was all me. But going into that trip, I practiced a ton and I was fine at like 65. I was like,
Holy
within
cow. What weight arrows are you shooting at 65 yards?
back then I moved to heavy arrows this year, so I have 650 is my overall weight on my arrows this year, because you just don't shoot that long for whitetails in the environments that I'm in. But ideally, if I were to go out west in the plain states and do mule deer again, because it's so expansive out there, it is very easy. Well, if you can be confident at like 60 or 70 stretching it for me, but 65, like everything's so much further apart out there, unless you're using a terrain feature like a badland to get on top of them. You either shoot them at 8 yards or 80. It's like,
that's like Levi Morgan style.
Yeah. Well, and typically you're shooting light mechanical, so like 100 grain and super like wavy spine. So like a 500 spine, I think, is the one that I was shooting. So it's just a lot of forgiveness. They fly all over the place, but they kind of hit true. And with a compound, there's just so much weight and they fly pretty true even at 60, 70 yards.
This is just my pre-rut setup. I don't know, because I'm like, well, I'll just get I'll get a little doe or whatever with my wood arrows. Because like these ones, the problem with them is because they are so much heavier, so much beefier. It's like, I feel like my effective range is less. I'm like maybe 15 to 18 yards is probably the limit of where I'd go, where I go 25 with, if I was shooting my Black Widow with, because that's 45, but it's also a recurve, and I shoot Easton Axis off of those.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like I don't want to mess up my rut hunts with trying to be more trad, I guess. So, yeah. But
that's good. Well, good luck this year, Mel. I hope.
Yeah, thanks.
Whenever
I'm teaching, I always start people, they only get an arrow and they have to prove that they can get to an anchor point, holding everything in alignment 10 times before I let them shoot a bow.
So. Solid.
Yeah.
I will not film myself doing that because I don't know if I'd pass your test, but
I'd be like, surrender the bow, JD.
Give it back.
Send it back. All right. Okay. It's bedtime for me. Appreciate you guys.
All right.
We'll talk to you later. Oh, actually, we got an intro to film. So
we do.
Okay. See ya.
Good to see you, Mel. Yeah.
See you, Mel.
We hit, I think it was 30,000 downloads this last week on our lifetime. So between YouTube views and Spotify downloads, if you add them all up, it's gone past 30,000. So
it's ridiculous.
Some of those are obviously for a minute or less.
Yeah.
But still, it's fun.
It's fun. My dad leaves for a Canada moose hunt on Saturday. I might try to send him with a GoPro at minimum.
Sure.
Just to be like, hey, take some footage when you can.
Yeah, anything.
Or just shoot some videos on your phone here and there or something.
I mean, just keep dropping 160s and then walk up on them with your iPhone, because that worked just fine for us
It's
last
just
time.
like, what did he say? He's like, oh, pretty nice one.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Good one. Dude, wild. Struck by lightning, or the ground was struck by lightning by them.
I did. Yeah. When did they find that part of the story out?
Just a couple days ago. It wasn't in a region of Colorado we hunt, but he was like, if it was in a region we hunted, I was ready to go and look for him. And I was going to ask you to come with me. And I was like, yeah, I'd have gone. It led to a really good conversation of just like, dude, that could have been us. And it was a good, powerful conversation. But we were talking about it, and I'm like, you can tell when weather is rolling in up there. Like, you can see it. They must not have got out in time. And I was talking to my dad about it, and he just got back from Colorado on some of their trips. And he's like, I was up where we were hunting, and I saw a storm come in, and I could see the lightning and the thunder, and I got down. I'm like, man, it could have been you, Dad. You were right there.
I don't know if they were just like, we'll be fine. Let's get under a pine tree or something like that. I don't know what was.
They were after a big bull. Like, they were going after a bull, and they left their stuff. They left their packs, I think, and they just went after it. And then the weather blew in, and they didn't have any of their stuff they normally would have. But still, I'm like, man, they were only 2 miles from the truck, which out there it's not far. I don't know.
Story, man.
Yeah, crazy.
I sent you that picture. I finally have a decent one on my trail cam.
That's a good buck.
I've actually got two. I've got a smaller 2.5-year-old, and then that one. I was going to look on I got a bunch more pictures, but he might just be passing through. But those are the kind of bucks that I've traditionally gotten like one photo of at night. And then the last week of October, I'll get 1 or 2 photos in daylight. And that's it. Like that, there's not really their home spot, but it's like a corridor that they travel through, kind of natural features make it a pinch point.
Sure.
And they'll just cruise through there. And there was several more larger deer that were like middle of the night pictures last year there, but that's the first decent, probably 2.5-year-old deer. I would stick that guy though. No problem.
Well, weather
no questions asked.
Weather has not been very favorable. And it's been like those bucks that I had coming in regularly. I haven't seen them in 10 days now. So we'll see.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I've got the weirdest looking fork I've ever seen on camera in the lake.
Oh, really?
It's like it comes up and then curls, and it's probably looks like 8-9 inches, and it just goes like this, and then the one side's just like that big. So it's like I'm like, he must have got hit on the head when he was young or something. I don't know.
Sounds like a good one for Daniel.
Perfect for Daniel. If that thing comes by, he'll just be jacked about it. I'll be up there October.
Nice. Sure.
There she is. Hey, Mel.
Hey.
Good to see you. Are you feeling better? Migraines, from what I hear, are horrible. Do you get those often?
No, but it just absolutely wiped me out. And I was leading worship on Sunday. And, I'm playing lead guitar and singing. So I just medicated and took like, I don't know, 4 espressos and made it through.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Were you wow. You must have just got home and like crashed after that, or just walked around in circles, one of the two. I thought about putting my target down here and literally shooting an arrow. And I'm like, nah, probably shouldn't do that.
You don't do that?
I totally could, but shoot inside?
So the year
I probably could.
I won the Wisconsin State shoot for recurve and longbow, I was practicing all winter long in my basement. It's like, I don't know how many yards it was. I think it was like 9. It's like, it's not far, right? It's like, I'm trying to think. I think it's the 20, so then like I just put a block on one side and I stayed on the other, and I have to like sit down the whole time. But I just focused on like muscle memory, getting to the same point every time. I had to make sure I
There
had a
you
really
go.
nice high density block because I didn't want to shoot into my wall.
Yeah, no
There's
kidding.
plumbing behind there.
Totally.
But
I remember doing that as a teenager in my parents' basement, and I was very bad at shooting. Do you remember the parsonage, Jonny, that I
Oh
lived
yeah. Yes.
in? It had a kind
Yes.
of like open, unfinished basement.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're still there today. There's probably 15 bullet hole type things in the concrete because I missed whatever little target I was trying to shoot at. So I have done that before, but yeah.
It's so helpful because you always think like, oh, I'll get out, I'll shoot or whatever. But if you just do a few reps a day of just engaging the right muscle groups, like it's amazing how much it really does help. You know, because like you don't even think, you get to a point where you don't even have to think about it. And like when you do have to put every check mark down of like, well, am I doing this right? Did I get to the right? Am I at my anchor? It's like once you're thousands of reps in, which you're not going to do if you only shoot when you go to a range, you know, or if you only shoot when the weather's good enough to make it work, you know.
Yeah.
I think basements are the best.
Did that outline make sense, Mel? Does that sound good for a direction I gave you?
Let me look. I didn't actually.
Of course. Hey, what's the outline? We don't really do outlines, but I can make one for you.
I was expecting like a document.
Oh, sure.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not that fancy.
I did look at it. I was in the middle of teaching a science lesson at that point. So
Fair enough.
Okay, what most people do wrong, what JD is doing wrong. Yeah, sounds good.
In parentheses, what JD is doing wrong. I've got some videos and you can critique me. It'll be fun. So.
I'm super excited that you're using Levi's bow.
It's very special to me. Yeah.
It's a sweet bow and like it's got a good story, and that exact same model. So that's called the Old Mountain Mesa. It's a 45 pound. And I found that one because I loved my bow so much. My bow is my first longbow was that model, but in a 35 pound, that's what I shot my first trad deer with.
Nice.
So then when Levi was like, oh, I want to get into this, I had found this guy down in Rochester, and he had bought like every weight of those to see which one he liked best. And he didn't like the 35, he didn't like the 45, and he had a 50. So I went down and bought the 35. Levi wanted to get into it, so I went and I bought the 45 also and got that all set up, and I made Levi his first set of arrows and everything like that. So it was pretty cool.
Super cool.
That's awesome. It's special to me because it's just a tangible reminder to pray for them every time I shoot it. And I'll shoot them a quick video and send it to them on Signal. And I actually took it out hunting for the first time last weekend, and it was just cool. I was just sitting there in the tree thinking about them, praying for them. And so it's going to be, I might not be able to hold it together if I actually harvest a deer with it this year, because it's so tied into their journey and holding it onto it for them, and memories we have in South Dakota and hunting together in Wisconsin. It's pretty special. So, yeah.
I don't think it's ever taken a deer yet, though.
No, it hasn't. No. I think a fox.
No, so
and
you really need to bring it full circle.
Yes, you do.
I do. I have footage of Levi shooting under a doe at 25 yards from last year somewhere. And
well, and you know, he's a great shot. He got robbed a few times. You know, because
oh my gosh.
Sometimes bow hunting, not just trad bow hunting, but bow hunting in itself, it's like just defeat after defeat, and you feel like you did everything right, you know. But
I have not finished our South Dakota video from last year, but I have the most epic grainy shot of Levi going like this and like kicking the bushes from like 200 yards away, because I came over a hill and I was looking down into the Badlands, and I could see him stalking a doe. And so I filmed the whole thing from like 200 yards away on my iPhone, and I have this really grainy footage of him going through the full range of emotions of missing he told the story on one of our earlier podcasts, but it's one of my favorite moments. because it's so real. Like he's all by himself in this canyon and he's just
Yeah, whenever.
cool.
My kids
Great.
are all listening. The older kids are doing like Legos and listening to Adventures in Odyssey, and the younger kids are all in bed. So
Perfect.
there you go.
Hey there, thanks for watching this video. I'm JD, founder and crew member of the HUNTXP team. We're so grateful that you took time to watch this video, and hopefully it's helping you level up your hunting game. That's what we and our community is all about, and we want to invite you into this growing community of hunters that's all about leveling up each other's hunting game. So the first thing you can do is like and subscribe, but even more than that, we got some fun things going on over at our website, huntxp.com. We'd love for you to join our community there and stay connected with what we're doing, what we're working on, and we'd love to hear about what you're after. So thank you for watching this video. See you next time.